Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dogs, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, March 10th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $15 Bank Shop best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdogs.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Friday in college hoops. First up, we go to the quarterfinal round of the American Athletic Conference as East Carolina takes on Houston. This one's going to be 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Now, I think this is just a really bad matchup for East Carolina, and, they played on Thursday. I got to give the Pirates credit. This team has played a lot more competitive in the second half of the season, at least against the spread, and we saw them have a nice win against South Florida outright by 15 points on Thursday, but not only does Houston have the rest advantage, but they have an advantage in almost all facets of the game in this one on paper. Fundamentally, Houston, great offensive rebounding team. They force plenty of turnovers. They take care of the ball. ECU, not so much. This team has had issues turning the ball over. They've had issues earning those defensive rebounds, and their defense is not great this season, so I do think Houston's going to take advantage of that all night long. Houston, a good shooting team, but an even better shooting defense. And East Carolina, although they're still ranked 288th in the nation in three-point shooting, this is still a team that takes a ton of three-pointers. And Houston, number 2 in the country in three-point defense. So to me, this is just a bad matchup. Houston's got the rest advantage. We know ECU has not really played too well in their true road game and neutral site games this season. So, to me, I just think this is a bad matchup on paper. We saw Houston beat East Carolina by 19 points back on February 25th, but that was a true road game for Houston. It was also a game where the Cougars took their foot off the pedal. I don't think that's going to be the case in the American Conference Tournament and a neutral site as well. I think Houston wins this game by 25 plus, so give me the Cougars. I'm going to lay the big number. Next up, we go to the Pac-12 tournament. It's going to be the semifinal round between Oregon and UCLA. This one, 9 o'clock Eastern on the Pac-12 network. Should be a great game here, but I like UCLA in this one. Oregon's a team I'd much rather take on its home court. We've seen Oregon pull together some nice wins at home this season, but on the road and at their neutral site games, not so much. We saw Oregon play a few neutral site games in non-conference play this season. We saw them lose by blowout loss to UConn, 83-59. They also lost by 4 points to who I believe is an overrated Michigan State team. We'll get to that later in the Bank Shop Breakdown. They took care of business against Villanova, but still, I think UCLA is a top 5 team in the nation right now, and they're just winning games left and right, covering spreads as well along the way. UCLA takes care of the ball. They force those turnovers. A good rebounding team, a great defense, and an underrated offense, in my opinion. I just don't think Oregon has enough in this one to compete for a full 40 minutes. Should be a close game at first. I wouldn't be surprised to see a close score at halftime. So if you liked Oregon, I'd probably lean towards the first half. I think UCLA pulls away late and covers the final number in the end. So give me UCLA. I'm going to lay the points. Next up, it's Ohio State and Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament quarterfinal round. This one, 2:30 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. I mentioned I thought Michigan State was a little bit overrated, and I think that's the case in this game, and overvalued at least. Ohio State's playing like its season is on the line, and that's definitely the case. I mean, this team was looking pretty good at making the tournament at the beginning of conference play, but they certainly took themselves out of those conversations, going on a 5-game losing streak and then going on a 9-game losing streak. But now they've won 4 of their last 5 games, and they covered a number against Michigan State back on March 4th as the road underdogs, losing by 6 points in the end. And Ohio State in that game, Michigan State shot 12 of 20 from 3 in that one, 60% from 3. Michigan State's a good three-point shooting team, but they cannot expect to go 60% in most games this season down the stretch. So, I do think that there is going to be some regression offensively for the Spartans, and we've mentioned, I think Michigan State's defense has been quite overrated for most of the year. A team that doesn't really force many turnovers, kind of relies on the opposing teams to miss good shots, and that's happened for most of the year, especially when Michigan State went on that big win streak. But down the stretch, we've seen Michigan State start to give up a good amount of points per game, including the 78 points it gave up in its final regular season game against these Buckeyes. So Ohio State's playing pretty good basketball. One could say their best basketball of the season. Pretty good time to do so in the Big Ten tournament. And I think Ohio State does enough in this game to at least cover the number, maybe pull off another upset. I think beating Iowa, really impressive there. I think Iowa, other than Purdue, is the best team in the Big Ten on paper at least. So to beat Iowa and already beat Wisconsin in the first round, Ohio State's playing really good ball. I wouldn't want it to be against them right now. So give me the Buckeyes. I'm going to take the points. Next up, we go to the ACC as Duke takes on Miami. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern. Bear with me a little bit. My voice is going out here on Thursday night, but Duke was a team that we knew was going to be a good defensive team. We knew they were going to be a good fundamental team, but the real question mark going into the season and for most of the regular season was its shooting performances. This was a team that was creating good looks offensively, but not really cashing in on those looks. They were a bad shooting team for most of the year. But now watch out. Here comes Duke. This team is starting to score the basketball at a very good rate and starting to shoot the basketball at a very high rate as well. We saw on Thursday afternoon against Pittsburgh, a solid Pittsburgh team. We saw Duke shoot 11 of 26 from 3, 42.3%, and 78.1%, 25 of 32 from two-point range. Those are your most sustainable buckets, those two-point field goals. So for Duke to be able to do that against a solid Pittsburgh team, a solid defense, really impressive stuff. We know Duke's playing its best basketball right now on a big-time win streak, beating some solid teams along the way. And now you're playing a Miami team that, again, a very good team in Miami. When we're this late in the Power 5 conference tournaments, we're getting really good teams left and right. While Miami is going to be a tough out here, is still a defense that's ranked outside the top 100 in adjusted defensive efficiency. So a defense that's improved, but not by enough for me. And, the offense is great. Miami's going to be able to score some points against any opponent that it faces. But Duke, one of the best defenses, not only in the conference, but in the country, 26 in adjusted defensive efficiency. A good defensive rebounding team. It doesn't take too many fouls. Defensive perimeter very, very well. I just don't think Miami has enough in this game. We saw these teams split the season series in the regular season. I think Duke takes this game, and we're laying a pretty reasonable number because Miami has been so good this year. I'm going to take Duke here. I'm going to lay the points with the Blue Devils. I think they grab the win and the cover. And the final game we're going to talk about for Friday's card in college basketball, it's in the Conference USA tournament as Middle Tennessee takes on FAU Florida Atlantic in the semifinal round, 12:30 Eastern, CBS Sports Network. Now, FAU, they played on Thursday afternoon. They took down Western Kentucky with ease, 75-51 the final. This FAU team's on a 5-game win streak. Now, they played some of the weaker teams in the conference along the way, but still winning most of those games by double digits and looking really good doing so. On the other end, Middle Tennessee needed a very exciting game to beat Charlotte 66-65. It was a 3-point make with only about 20 seconds to go in the game, again from Cameron Weston, to give Middle Tennessee the lead, and then they had a great defensive possession ending in a block to win that game and move on to the semifinal round. But, one could say this could be a letdown spot. I also think FAU playing with a lot of revenge in this game because that was the last loss they took was to this Middle Tennessee team on the road. We know Middle Tennessee, a very good home team, not so much on the road. Neutral site games, they played pretty well, but FAU looks like a team on a mission right now. They're playing great basketball on both ends of the court. Overall, fundamentally, this is the better team. They're playing with revenge. It's a letdown spot here for Middle Tennessee. I just think it's too much here for Middle Tennessee to compete in this one for 40 minutes. I think FAU is going to win this conference tournament in the end. I think they're going to win this game and cover the number as well. So give me the Owls of FAU. I'm going to lay the big number. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bet, you can find those at Pick Dogs Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.